and I'd like to tell you his story as told by his coins. Well, Julius Caesar is a very famous character in history. For example, we have this coin over here. This was struck for only about a month when he was still alive, February to March. Remember the whole Ides of March, March 15th, 44 BC? There was a plot to assassinate him by Brutus and a whole bunch of other conspirators in the Senate who snuck in with knives, with these little short knives, and wound up stabbing him to death. On the back, you see that's Venus actually featured holding victory. Venus was the patron deity of Julius Caesar because his family actually traces descent to Venus herself. That was the whole thing. But another interesting thing is that, for example, we have here a portrait coin of Mark Antony. Mark Antony was actually held up outside of the Senate House by somebody, and maybe if he was there, the assassination wouldn't have happened. But Julius Caesar went inside anyway, and he wound up getting assassinated. And maybe if this guy was still there, one of his generals, he would have actually been able to, do a major something different might have happened historically. So Julius Caesar had several different coins. You have the coin with the elephant stomping out a serpent, and it says Caesar underneath. That's very interesting. And the priestly implements of the Roman office of the highest priest office of Pontifex Maximus. Here's another coin from where it's not a portrait coin. Portrait coins of an emperor were a no-no, because they don't believe a live person should be put on a coin. They did put their ancestors on their coins, but not of somebody that's alive. So that's where Julius Caesar actually committed a big no-no. What's interesting is that Julius Caesar portrait coins were actually struck even after his death, just like Alexander the Great. See this coin from circa 42 BC? It's several years after he passed on. Next, Julius Caesar actually looked up to Alexander the Great. This is a silver Greek coin from Pella Mint from circa 90 to 75 BC. I could have showed you a coin from a little bit earlier, from 336 to 323 BC, but what this coin actually illustrates is that Alexander the Great was still popular in the minds of the people, and a lot of people looked up to him. Julius Caesar wound up actually visiting the tomb of Alexander the Great at Alexandria in Egypt. And he actually felt that he did not accomplish even 1/10 as much as Alexander the Great, and he was much older than him already when he died. Because Alexander the Great died at around maybe 33 or 36 years of age, and he was already older than that. So next coin, let's see this coin. That's not a portrait coin, but you see, Julius Caesar coins in all are very much valued. The portrait coin is probably the most interesting to have. Next, let me show you a coin of Sulla. Julius Caesar actually knew Sulla. There was a dictator that came to power. This is Sulla in a chariot. See, it says M. Sulla. And what happened was he was a dictator before Julius Caesar came to power. And he set the whole idea of using your army to scare the Senate into giving you power. So this coin we have is from circa 82 BC. Next, let's move on. So what happened was Julius Caesar got assassinated March 15th, 44 BC. And, there was a very big uproar. There was a lot of people that were up for the Republican cause. Of one of them, was, let's see, who was up for the Republican cause? There was Brutus Cassius. They ran away. I didn't put a coin here of Brutus, but there's one specific coin which commemorated his Ides of March, the assassination, and that's super rare and worth maybe, in good conditions, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But Brutus and Cassius, they escape Rome after the assassination. And what happened is actually Mark Antony and Augustus, who was known as Octavian Caesar, who assumed the name of Caesar on his coins, and they wound up defeating the assassins of Julius Caesar. And then this coin was minted. This coin is from Philippi, and it features the Victory, which is the goddess of victory. She's holding the wreath and the palm. And it says Vic Av. So it's the victory of Augustus, and over here you have the military standards. This coin commemorates the wrong being righted by these by having a victory over the assassins of Julius Caesar. So after Julius Caesar passed on, you had Augustus, because he was the great grandnephew, basically an adopted son of Julius Caesar, and he actually assumed the name of Caesar in order to use it for political gain. This coin is actually quite interesting because when Julius Caesar passed on, it's been noted historically that there was a great comet that flew over Rome, which everybody saw, and this actually coin commemorates that comet flying over after he passed on. An interesting thing that a comet actually flew over when Mark Twain also passed on. So this is a very popular type also. So even after the death of Julius Caesar, he was still very popular. Noted by this coin over here from circa 38 BC, where it features on one side the portrait of Julius Caesar, and on the other side you had the portrait of Augustus. But notice both of them are named Caesar in this coin. Augustus wanted to capitalize on that. Later on, you had a whole lot of story. Basically, Augustus, Mr. Mark Antony, they formed a pact with another person named Lepidus. And eventually this pact fell apart because Mark Antony, he fell in love with Cleopatra, and he insulted Octavian because he abandoned his sister, whom Mark Antony married in order to curry political favor with Augustus. And they didn't like the idea that possibly Mark Antony would marry somebody that's outside of Roman aristocracy. And there's a whole big story with Mark Antony and Cleopatra, and also Julius Caesar and Cleopatra. Cleopatra gave Julius Caesar actually a son named Caesarion. And when Mark Antony got defeated, the son of Julius Caesar wound up actually getting assassinated because he would have been in line for the succession of Augustus, who was just an adopted son, and Caesarion would have been his real son. So what happened was that things fell apart, and in 31 to 30 BC, you had a great battle going on. This is a coin of Mark Antony from circa 32 to 31 BC, and it features the galley, which was to symbolize the might of his naval power, because he built up a huge fleet with the help of the funds of Cleopatra. She had tons of cash, and that's what he did. And on the back, you had the legionary standards, also to symbolize his legions. You would have the legion and the number next to it. So this one would be Legion 4. See, I, pretty much. Legion 4. There was over 20 legions, and this is a series to collect all on its own. So what happened was there was a big preparation for a naval battle. He felt that he had naval superiority. But instead of, because he had a preponderance, he had a lot more troops. Mark Antony had a lot more troops than Octavian did, than Augustus. And, but he chose to do the battle on sea, which was advised against. And then he saw Cleopatra fleeing from there because she thought Mark Antony, got, slain in battle, and he abandoned his troops, and his troops wound up actually getting defeated by the best friend of Augustus, named Agrippa, Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa. He wound up actually defeating him in a great naval battle. So basically, after Mark Antony got defeated, you had one man left alone to assume all power, and which was Augustus, the adopted son of Julius Caesar. So the whole story of this time period could actually be told and remembered and valued through these great historical coins. I have thousands of ancient coins with a lot more topics than I could have covered in a short video. I sell coins on eBay, and